Have you ever seen your gizmo selection and just don't know which one to pick? This gizmo tier list will solve all your problems made by these 11 pros. Thank you. Starting with the F tier, the gizmos to avoid. Wait, there's nothing? Wait, is there a mistake? Oh, never mind, the script here explains it. It says here that it's because no gizmo is unusable, and the worst gizmos still have situations where it's useful. Speaking of the worst gizmos, we have the C tier. These gizmos are weak, but they're useful in a few scenarios, starting with the pancaker. After the mini P.E.K.K.A attack speed buff removed, it doesn't do much anymore. It's kinda useful with the Archer Queen, but other than that, you can easily burst down minis, even with the heals from the pancaker, especially with minis like the Swordsman and the Barbarian used a lot in this meta. Same with the training camp. It's good for Archer Queen, Countess, and even Barter, but other than that, it's almost useless. You can easily counter it, you know for sure what 2 tiles they'll use, so you can just use clash abilities to punish the enemy. And this is just nothing compared to the gizmos in the A or S tier, so stick to the end to find that out. We also have mucho puncho, which just doesn't offer a lot of value. You can easily dodge it, and most of the time you can only knock minis 1 tile away, while the other mini takes it out. And of course, it's useless against ranged minis. And you can just easily counter it as well by blocking tiles behind the minis so the minis can't be knocked back. And some minis can even benefit from the mucho puncho. For example, the Golden Giant heals and the ShiuMing gets energy. Moving up to the B tier, these gizmos are average and they can work well in some decks, such as the War Toot. This is one of the most situational gizmos because it only works against decks with control effects, and if there isn't, it's literally useless. So if you're having trouble against the enemy's Wavemaster, Fisherman, Musketeer, Electro Wizard, or the Mega Knight, this is definitely a great pick. But be careful, because using this might actually harm you, because you can't use the Wavemaster Clash and your Golden Giant can't shield because it can't be stunned. Then we have the Hot Pot. He has never been very strong. He is almost always overshadowed by the Rocket, and the Potter just has very slow movement and attack speed, and it's also easily countered by the Ice Wizard or the Witch. The only reason why he's not in the C tier is because King Tower can't take it out before the Potter spawns, so that's the only part it has an upper hand over the Rocket. Moving up to the A tier, these are strong gizmos and I would recommend using them, like the Rocket. It deals so much damage and it can clear out an entire push. It can kill the Archer Queen before she gets invisible, and the Royal Champion before she gets invincible. So it can almost always get value, you just can't go wrong with it. Then we have the sauna. This is another very situational gizmo. It depends on which troops go in the sauna, and if the knight or the guard goes in it, then there's really no point of it. In fact, there's no good mini for the sauna in Barb King 2 Elixir, but for the Ewiz or the Royal Champion or P.E.K.K.A or Countess, this can change the game. Ewiz can literally perma-stun with the sauna. So if you see minis in your deck that can get lots of value with the sauna, use it. And then we also have the Saint Mirror. This is every Monk and Royal Champions player's nightmare. And this is the bane of the Monk's existence. It can get you guaranteed 16 damage, or even more. And it also is a good counter to the Archer if you place it at the back. The only downside is that it's not good versus healing decks, because minis can be healed after attacking the mirror. And then finally we have the S tier, the best gizmos, like the Elixir Pump. This is super powerful if you get it in round number 2 or even round 1. If the enemy doesn't pick the pump too, it gives you such a big advantage, and it gives you way more freedom with strategies. And it can literally get you all 3-star minis in a Barb King 2 Elixir deck. All your stars can just be pumped out. And last but obviously not least, we have the King Tower. It can literally counter every single gizmo, well, except for the Hot Pot. And it can just make the Rocket and sauna useless. In 80% of the matchups, you should definitely pick King Tower over anything else, if it's there. Because if you don't, the enemy will just counter your other gizmo with the King Tower. This creates a kind of weird dynamic, and that's why I don't really like the King Tower's design. It shouldn't be a gizmo's job to counter other gizmos, but that's besides the point. The point is, King Tower OP. Well, actually, none of these gizmos are strong, and this tier list means nothing without the techniques to use it right. So here's 24 pro tips so you can get the most value possible out of them.